Good morning, students. My name is Peter Kiwowo, and I'm your tutor for visual arts. And today I want us to go through our study material contents as we are preparing for our assignments. I hope you are doing well and you are ready to start doing your assignments. So the presentation that we are going to have today is not necessary that it's based on the assignments, but rather understanding your study guide, and as you are going to be doing your assignment, you will be able to understand the questions a little bit better. So maybe I should also mention that we are using 3 different study guides, including excluding the Kindle, because I did not use the Kindle when I was preparing for this, so I only stick to the soft copies. Anyhow, I hope you have got your DJPE or your PPD or your BES study guides for visual arts, because the assignment it's set from those 3 books, assuming that they are also in your downloaded in your Kindle. Okay, let's get started. What is appearing on the screen there is my contact details. It's very important that I mentioned earlier, so that anything that you might end up not understanding, feel free to contact me right after the presentation or later on. Okay, let's get started. So first slide, we are going to talk about our study guides contents, as we have mentioned earlier. Please do confirm you have got the DJP or PPD or BSB visual art modules, or otherwise confirm that you have found them in your Kindle. In this slide, we are going to look at all the units covered in your study material. Is unit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those 4 units are appearing in all your study guides that you have, except for unit 5 and unit 6. That is only appearing in the BES TAS SS visual art book. So but they are not a matter for now. You don't panic about that, because as we go, you will learn that maybe when you are going to be doing your assignment, you are not necessarily getting to that standard. But I hope for those that have got Kindles, they might have their full vision. Otherwise, all this unit 1, 2, and 3, and 4, they are all the same in all your study guides. It's only that they appear at the different pages. But what is covered in unit 1, it's the same in DJP, is the same unit that is covered in DPP, or PDD. Okay, unit 1, which is about explaining some basics of visual arts perspective. That is just the main title there. That means under that specific unit there are subtitles that we'll look at later. Unit 2 is about examining and all explaining. I used examine or explain because in some study guides that topic starts with an examine, and the other study guides it starts with explains. I just wanted to make that clear. So examine or explain and demonstrate how to draw pictures. That means there's also subtitles that will guide you of how to draw a pictures, because it's an instruction it's an explanation given to you on how to draw pictures. Unit 3 is about clarifying or explain. Again, clarify in some other books, explain in other book, and demonstrate how to make models. It's not fashion modeling. It's visual arts, object making, modeling with clay or with paper mache or any other thing that you can use to mold something. Unit 4 is about also explain or illustrate. I used those 2 terminologies because they differ in the units. Maybe in one book the unit says it starts with explain or with illustrate. So either explain, illustrate, don't mind what you are getting there. It has to be two of any of those two, but not both. And demonstrate constructing and collage. That is also another difficulties again with understanding. Constructing, this is not for buildings. This is for when you are teaching your pre-primary children using cardboards, cutting with scissors, with glue, and they are constructing a structure, maybe a house or a toy, or that we are referring to that specific construction in visual arts, not houses. We are not talking about bricks here and cement. Also collage. This is a French word. Another word for it is pasting, cut and paste. Let's say cut and paste. But the correct word to use in visual arts is collage. So don't read it college, don't understand it as college, because that is it's very sensitive. It can easily be mispronounced, and the moment you mispronounce it, the same time you misunderstand it as well. So understand that it's collage, not college or something, and it's to do with cutting and pasting. Also consult your dictionary about that. Unit 5, discuss the aspects of teaching and assessing art creations. Teaching is teaching. Assessing is when you are testing students on how they did, if they have learned something at all about what we have taught them. And that is now in relation with art creations. And that unit is only appearing in the BES book, together with Unit 6, which is about examining the teaching and the learning activities and materials. How is Unit 6 differ from Unit 5? Unit 5 is looking at the aspects of teaching and assessments. It's more theory, while Unit 6, which examines the teaching and learning activities, is more of practical. That's why they're talking about learning activities there, and they're talking of art materials there to the children between the grade 1 up to grade 3. And it's also in only the, if you are using a hard copy, it's only appearing in the BES book. Okay, next slide. Unit 1. In the first unit, in the first slide, I have only given you the study guide's contents, but we not look into details. In this specific unit, which is Unit 1, we are going to also not everything covered under this unit, but only few selected topics because of time that we cannot manage to cover everything in that. But I think we have picked those that are more relevant for this presentation. Aims of art education in pre-primary school. That is the first unit in all your study materials. And it talks about the aims of arts education. That means it's talking about the importance of art education. Why should we teach art subjects to small kids? That is the basic question you should ask yourself there. And under this unit, we are going to look at understanding the different areas of art education. Different areas of art education. In this understanding, we are looking at the different disciplines of art. That includes visual arts, dancing, appreciation of arts, drama, that is of acting, music, that is to do with movements, singing, that is to do with vocals and all that. We are looking at the different disciplines of art education. The impacts of early art experience on learners' learning and development. So how does this art education help? How does it contribute to your child's development? If we say that it's important, so how important is it? Does it contribute in the drawing skills, in the communicating skills, in the sorting out problems skills, because here they are learning to be creative. That means creative at anything. But so what are the contributions? What are the impacts? How is it important? What is its contributing to a child's development? And also we look at the arts as a stimulus of creativity. Sometimes also, as you are going to be busy with your assignment, if you don't understand a specific keyword, and as a result you are failing to understand the whole sentence and what the question is all about, please do consult your dictionary. If you can't, call me and ask, and just find out what does stimulus means. So art as a stimulus of creativity. So how does art function there as a stimulus? How does it stimulate? How does it makes a child? How does it awaken the child's creativity abilities? Point number 4, art as a self-expression development. We say that we express ourselves in our drawings, in our paintings. If you are a singer, you express yourself through singing, but we are now focused on visual arts. How does art develop? How does it contribute to a child's self-expression? Maybe you have got a child that is very introvert, does not talk too much, is very quiet, and it's hard to find out how this child is doing, whether they are doing good or bad. But maybe when you give them art activities, somehow in a way in their art drawings, you'll be able to pick up the situations as we have learned in your studies. So we look at that, how does art contribute to a child's self-expression, to independent, to be able to speak out? How does it help? Or how does art can be used as a tool of self-expression? So you need to go into that details. I think there are 3 points in your first page in this first unit. And next point is art as a hand-eye training tool. Hand-eye training tool. How is that sounding? How do you understand it? Hand-eye training. What you see, what is what you are trying to transfer to your hand and draw. What you are looking at is what you are trying to draw. That hand-eye coordination. How does art comes in? How does it evolve? How does it help a child to develop that specific eye-hand coordination? Those are the questions that you should ask yourself, because that's what you need to understand as you are reading, as you are studying, as you are doing your artwork. Make sure that if you ask yourself such questions, you need to find now the answer in that specific book. So how does it help? Is it by modeling what they are saying? Is it by imitating? Or is it by what? Those are questions that, because this so far it's just bones, there is no meat. That means it's for you to add the meat there, so that the subject test nice. Okay, and then the next point is talks about the theory, and we focused only on Piaget's theory on how learners' drawings reflect their cognitive competence. Understand what is cognitive? That should be your homework. I want you to find the meaning of that specific word, but it's to do with processing mind system. And you must look at the stages of development. I think they are in your book. They are about 4 there, because you have got the first stage of development, which is scribbling stage, which is between 2 and 4. You have got the pre-semantic, you have got the semantic, just to list a few, but they are there. So that is, if whenever you see those stages, remember that we are talking about Piaget's theory on how child drawings reflect on their cognitive competence. Then we also have the principles of arts. These are the things that makes art. A drawing won't exist without art, and I'm going to demonstrate to you here immediately. Just a rough drawing. I'm not going to give you my best. Okay, let's say we have that specific block. we have that specific block. We are talking about principles of visual arts. Part of the principles of visual art is lines. What way is a line on that specific sketch drawing? Isn't it this one? It's one of the principles of drawing. And then we are talking about also shape. This whole thing, how does it look like? It's talking about space, one area to another. Space. It all exists in one specific drawing. That's where all the principle of visual arts exist. So when we are going to be studying about that, make sure that when you talk about the principle of visual arts, you are talking about the specific components that you need or to put together for you to be able to create an art piece and a drawing. Okay, next slide, unit 2, which is about examining or explaining and demonstrate how to draw pictures. I used two words there, examine or explain, because in some modules or some books it's only written examine, while in others it's explain, but it's not both. Okay, that's what you need to understand, so don't be bothered by that. So it's about examine or explain and demonstrate how to draw pictures. And in this specific unit, we are looking at the themes and the themes application to lessons or art activities. First thing, you need to understand what is a theme. A theme is like a topic. One would translate it as a topic or as a concept. What is that you are going to talk about? If you are going to teach an art lesson, or if you are going to practice an art activity with children. Is it in your book? There is around 9 or 8 that are listed. That includes myself, my family, my environment, animals, plants, all that can make children exciting. Let's say if you happen to choose your theme, if your theme is going to be my family, then you look at the contents, what makes up a family. Even if you are going to collect pictures for you to be able to make sure that your children understands of what you are talking about, what type of pictures are you going to get? It's family. So rather, a theme is a topic, is a concept, is an umbrella of that, what guides the activity that you are going to carry out. So without a theme, you will likely to collect any piece of material that you find there, any piece of picture. But when you have got a theme, if you say my theme is animal, is it wild animals, domestic animals, all combined? Then you collect image that fits your specific theme. I just wanted us to understand what a theme is, and also in themes application to lesson. So how does your theme apply to the lesson that you are going to teach? Okay, when collecting theme pictures, there are specific things that you should put in mind when you are busy getting together different pictures for your subject. There are several things that you need to keep in mind. One of those is how learning is done around themes. The type of themes to be used for pre-primary education and the materials needed to execute each theme, how themes can be applicable when teaching mathematics and healthy, potato printing, that is yes, you need to have a theme there also. But here I want you to concentrate on the process, materials, and tools. When you are executing a potato printing art activity, what process? Where do you start? Do you prepare? If you prepare, where do you start? Because these materials and tools, one needs another one for the other for it to start. So you need to start somewhere And that whole process, it starts with the process. You prepare, you collect the materials, you need the tools, and introduce the activity to the children. You let them off what to be done and what should be done. That's why you need to also mind the way it says the types of themes to be used for pre-primary school and the materials needed to execute each theme. That is point number 2. So what does it mean by that? It means that you have to mind the group of children that you are dealing with, so that only then you will be able to correct the right pictures that suits their age. These things is like when you are watching television. When those shows comes, when movies comes, there's always an age restriction set there, that it's under 13, 16, all its parental guidance. It's the same with pictures. You don't get just any picture and give it to the children. So you need to mind what type of pictures suitable for children. And when you are thinking about that, you need to get pictures that can get children excited. And in that way, they will be loving to do the activity. They will be excited, looking forward to start already with it. So you need to gather pictures that suits their age. And also you need to pick the right materials, because you need to know that they are not in danger when using those materials. They cannot step each other because children, or cut each other because children, they are playful. They can be playing, and they don't really mind much of the consequences of what of the things that they are using. So that's why you need to give them the right materials there needed. Don't give them chemical materials. So these themes, or these tools and materials, they are not one size fits all. A theme that says my house have got different pictures, different materials and tools to use. A theme that is about environment, it's different. It have got its own pictures. Maybe materials can be the same because this is small children, and most of these activities are done with light and children accommodating materials. But the structure and the instructions are different, except for the technique, which is of putting things together. So also, how does learning take place around the theme? What do you put into consideration? You get the pictures, you introduce the thing to the children, and you, as the teacher, you start being creative as well and execute, but you are guided in your book on how to do these things. It's not coming from the head. You are guided from the book on how to carry out the specific activities. So that is for you to read. And like I mentioned before, that these are just bones. You need to put meat there, and the meat is the reading that you need to read and understand what it means. Unit 2, examine, explain, and demonstrate how to draw pictures. It have got many different subunits under this specific unit, but we only selected or highlighted that one of the themes and theme application to art lessons. So don't get confused, because in the main topic it says draw pictures, but the next topic is about themes and the themes application. So it's because the unit itself covers many different subunits, and we're only concentrating on one for now. It's not because it's more important than the others. It's simply because that is what time can allow us to do for now, as you are preparing for your assignment. So it's a recap, themes and application to lessons and art activities. How learning is done around the theme. The types of themes to be used for pre-primary education. In your book, there is about 8 different themes that are recommended by our Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture. But they are not limited. They can be more than that. How themes can be applicable when teaching mathematics and health. So let's say if we have spoken already of the specific type of pictures that you should pick for each theme. So let's say if you are teaching about mathematics, what type of pictures will you collect? If it's health, what type of pictures will you collect? Those are the questions that you should ask yourself as you are reading, because you need to find that specific answer in your reading, in your study material. Start to potato printing activity. There is more activities there, but we picked this specific activity because this is the one that is mostly I like it, because potato is also associated with food, and one can imagine how can one use it for printing. It's simple. You cut it in the middle. You have a design there. You have got a design there. Sorry. Maybe that is what you want to print, and you cut that out in a potato. You apply paint, then voila, you have the print. Simple as that. But again, for you to get there, it's not a short and brief. If I just stated, there's a process. There's materials there's a process that you should take on, materials and tools that are involved for you to get together, for you to be able to execute that specific activity. Okay. Again, task. What is the task? I'm going to read it to you. The blame for undervalued art in the community is often put on unavailability of arts education facilities. I think in public schools, I think it's supposed to be in public schools. There must be a typing error there. Huh? So that is a task. The task is that, sorry, let me read this one again. Task, the blame for undervalued arts in the community is often put on the unavailability of arts education facilities in public schools. That's a scenario. Here is the task itself. Consult. That means go out there consult with a practicing art teacher at the primary school in your town. That is now you being part of this subject in your town, to hear his or her experience in teaching arts at that specific school. The consultation should involve the following. What are you going to talk about? It must be about the art materials, availability of art materials, and the resources in terms of facilities. Do we have facilities? Do you have human resources, qualified art teachers there? Or what type of these teachers? How far did they went as it concerns study of art education? Are they professional qualified art teachers, or are they teachers trained in other subjects but maybe at some point had art as their core subjects, and for that matter, or that background of theirs, they are tasked to teach this specific grade? So it's an independent consultation. You should let the teacher express his or herself in that sense, and they must not also feel that maybe you are questioning their qualifications. That is not the matter. Go back to the scenario and confirm, is it true that there are no facilities? And when you are going to answer the specific, the two following questions, you will be relying on what you have talked about on your consultation. And here is the tip. If you fail to go for a consultation and you are talking to this specific teacher and you are not taking any notes, I tell you, you will not be able to address the two questions, because they have to come from that specific consultation or meeting. Maybe consultation might confuse you, but consulting is just meeting somebody and you are questioning about what you don't know. And also feel free to introduce, give them this specific slide, and they must read so that they understand what you are there for, so that they don't chase you away. Anyhow, question 1, based on your consultation, summarize the basic challenge highlighted by the art teacher you consulted at the school. Put in summary, write down the challenge. Challenges are those difficult. What is it that making it difficult for the teacher to teach? That's what you need to put in summary. Question 2, assume that you are a school principal at a primary school, not maybe not at that school. What is important? Assume you are in the position of a school principal. Here you don't need to consult a principal. It's you yourself putting yourself in the shoe of a principal. Share, that means tell the recommendations you would give to the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture to improve the level of teaching arts education in pre-primary schools. So what are the recommendations? How are you going to come up with those specific recommendations for you to be able to convince the ministry to understand the challenge faced with teachers teaching art in pre-primary schools? So these two questions complement each other. When you have got the challenge, you will be able to make the recommendations, because where recommendation means giving your idea to sort the challenge. So if the challenge is that we don't have enough or we don't have classes specified or put for visual arts, equipped with visual arts equipment, and that makes it as difficult, because now we have to use any class that is there and it's meant for other subjects. So what could be the recommendation? How would you advise? So you consult the teacher, have a long talk there, and as you are consulting, you are writing, you are noting it down, so that you will be able to summarize. Use 2 schools. You are not limited to 1 school only. Use 2 schools so that you can compare. And it's meant to be public schools, not private schools, so that you can be able to build your questions. Okay. And that was it for us for today. Otherwise, recommended, now I'm recommending you also here to use your Iol study guide or Kindle, but not restricted or not limited to further researches. You can consult other academic study materials as you are going to be doing your assignments. Only that I'm advising you again that please do start your assignment early. Don't wait for the last minute. Don't wait for the due date. And again, you have got 0 excuse of not answering all the questions in the assignment, because you are doing this from home, where you don't understand. You have got the tutors. You have got the tutors' contact details. Send a text if you can't call. I will tell you what to do, or maybe I'll call you straightforward. That is my cell phone, 081-33-83070. My email, pkewowo, that's a pkewow@gmail.com. And don't mind the date, 15 September. That should be the date when the slides were prepared. But also don't mind the 2017. Otherwise, the presentation is meant for your assignment for 2018. So please go through your assignment, question papers, understand each and every question, and before you start doing your assignment, make sure that you understand all the questions. In any case where there will be any question that you don't understand, call me. And when you call me, these are my frequent questions. This is how I ask my students when they call me. Do you have your study or do you have your assignment paper now? Yes. Read for me that specific question, because sometimes one will call and say, I don't understand the question 1.1. But maybe I don't have my book. I might remember, but maybe I might not know it all. I'll ask you to read it out. Read it out for me so that as you read it out, we start discussing it. And that way we make sure that we understand it. Only when you understand all the questions in your assignment, then you are able to carry out your task of executing your assignment or doing your assignment. Do it on time. Let's not wait for January 2018. Start doing it down so that release that pressure. Do it now. So as you have seen that we only looked at 2 different units. The remaining units, we'll meet them in the next presentation, but this should be enough to guide you as you are doing your assignment. Just don't leave questions unattended simply because you don't understand the question. I have seen it, I have experienced in the previous papers, and it pains me that you are given the chance to consult. Is not an exam, it's an assignment. Call if you can't ask the next person. And otherwise, once more again, thank you very much. I hope with a little that we have shared will contribute to you as you are carrying out your assignment. Thank you.